Good evening. I am Mike Purzycki. I'm the mayor of the city of Wilmington, and it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you here tonight. I also want to acknowledge our friends at the Grand right behind me who are playing such a key role in this evening's festivities. This evening is a day of remembrance for over 400,000 of our citizens who passed because of COVID-19. But that underscores, or it understates, the tragedy of the families, times 10 is 4 million, and friends times 10, so many more people who suffered because of this terrible disease and the way it was managed. The tragedy for all of us is none of us believes that it had to be as bad as it was. I think it's a good time for me to acknowledge the great work by our Governor John Carney and County Executive Matt Meyer working on not only vaccination, but of course the testing that was so important to ensure the safety of our citizens. I have a distinction of being older than a good many of folks, and I'm not ashamed to say I lived through the 60s, and I will tell you the 60s were horrible, where we had 3 national figures assassinated, including a president, a candidate for the presidency, and of course Martin Luther King. Watching the cities in the country rended by violence. Vietnam War had this country torn in half, and it's hard to imagine a worse state of affairs. And yet I regret to say that this past year, 2, 3 has felt just so much worse. The political uncertainty, to go with the racial dislocation, the social dislocation, the consequential economic pain has been very difficult for all of us. But today we went down to the Newcastle County Airport and we gave a send-off to our next president, Joe Biden. And to me, he embodies everything that we had hoped for a long time. Someone who is going to bring decency, respect, competence, and dignity back to that office. And it heartens me, and I'm not ashamed to tell everybody how proud we are of Joe Biden and how thrilled we were to give him an enthusiastic send-off to today. So I want to pass the microphone off to my good friend Matt Meyer, our county executive, but I want to leave everybody with a word of optimism that this country is equal to the task of greatness, that there's something inherently decent about us. We will plumb the depths of our souls to find it, and we will resurrect it, and that is what is going to give voice to the America that we all know and love. Thank you very much. Matt?
Thank you so much, Mayor Purzycki. The city of Wilmington and Newcastle County and the state of Delaware is very lucky that Mayor Mike Purzycki is our mayor here in Wilmington. And your partnership has been valuable the last 4 years, but particularly the last 10 months as we struggled through this and fought this virus together. Today, as Mayor Purzycki referred to, is an extraordinary day for the state of Delaware, for the city of Wilmington, and for Newcastle County. Tomorrow at noon, in about 18 and a half hours, for the first time in Delaware history, a Delawarean will be president of the United States. Elections and a lot of what went on last year was a time of great division for our country. Now it's a tremendous opportunity for us to come together, and I think tonight at 5:30 Eastern Time, for buildings across the country, all across the country, not just here in Wilmington, the Roth Bridge over the C&D Canal, in Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, cities and towns across our great country. They will all be lighting up, just as the Grand Opera House will be behind us very shortly. They'll be lighting up to memorialize those over 400,000 individuals who've lost their lives to COVID-19. It is sadly one of the great unifiers in our country. Those that lost their lives, they were old, they were young, they were women and they were men. They were individuals with terrible health issues, and they were individuals who were completely healthy. They were Democrats, they were Republicans, they were Americans, and they were from foreign lands. None of them are with us here today. As their families mourn here in Wilmington and Newcastle County in Delaware and across our country. As the lights go on, we want you to know that we mourn with you. We are by your side, and together with masks, with COVID-19 testing, physical distancing, and hopefully increased prevalence of the vaccine, we will get through this, and we will get through it together. And on that note, on a note of hope, it's my honor to introduce someone who's really been on the forefront of our nation's fight against COVID-19, someone who not only has done tremendous work making sure we have the resources here in Wilmington and Newcastle County and in Delaware to effectively have a testing regime, to make sure that restaurant owners don't go out of business, to make sure that tenants don't lose their homes, but also to make sure that happens all across the country. Our great junior senator from the state of Delaware, Chris Coons.
Thank you, Mayor Purzycki, and thank you, County Executive Meyer, and all of us gathered earlier today for a wonderful send-off of our president-elect. And right now, in our nation's capital at the Lincoln Memorial, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, President-elect Biden, and folks from around the region are gathered for a moment of remembrance. It's been said that it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And this COVID-19 pandemic has brought a great deal of darkness to our city, our county, our state, and our world. 2 million people have died worldwide. 400,000 as of today have lost their lives across the United States, more than 1,000 here in Delaware. And so I'm grateful to join with these wonderful leaders of our city and our county in a moment of reflection and remembrance, a moment of gratitude for the nurses and the orderlies, the doctors and the paramedics who've risked their own lives and in some cases lost them in providing urgently needed medical care for those infected, for the researchers and the scientists who've brought us hope with vaccines now being distributed. But we have to pause and take a moment and reflect on what their passing means to so many families all over our nation and our world. The Psalms, 147th Psalm, teaches that he heals up the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. In that spirit, in the spirit of hope, that we, in lighting this building, symbolically this candle against the darkness, can begin the process of healing and of coming together as a nation. Please join me in a brief moment of silence, after which you'll see the front of the Grand Opera House illuminated and hopefully the hearts of all who mourn lifted. Thank you. May the ceremony be a moment of encouragement to all who mourn. Thank you.